So what is the SecurityX certification? So this certification validates job tasks performed by a security professional with 10 years of IT experience and 5 years of security experience, and also is designed around the tasks performed by senior security engineers as well as senior architects. So this certification is meant to be a natural progression from the job roles that's aligned to the Security Plus. So if you're trying to break into cybersecurity, this certification is not entirely meant for you, but it is one that you could lead up to. This is a certification that you can add on your list. So once you get that Security Plus, and I do believe the Security Plus is probably the best option for someone that's trying to get into cybersecurity right now. So once you get that Security Plus, which eventually leads to that first job interview, then leads to that first job role, as you gain your experience through those positions that you work your way up to, then, like I said, it may come a time where you need to go and get this SecurityX certification. And the X in SecurityX stands for expert. So like I said, it's meant to be a higher level certification, something similar to how we see with Cisco, where you have the CCST, which is the entry level certification. Then you have the CCNAs, which is the associate level certifications. Then you have the CCNP, which is the professional level certification. And then you have the CCIE, which is the expert level certification, or the highest certification you can obtain within the Cisco realm. So this SecurityX looks like it may be CompTIA's way of adding those higher level certs, but having the X in the name of them that stands for the expert level certification. So if with that being said, it makes sense that, okay, they say go get the Security Plus first, and then the SecurityX is something, the next step after that Security Plus. Some of the skills you'll learn on this certification, or some of the skills you will obtain on this certification. So first it goes into security architecture, and then also you get into the security operations, governance, risk, and compliance, security engineering, and cryptography. Then moving on to the exam overview. So basically this exam covers the technical knowledge and skills required to architect, engineer, and integrate and implement secure solutions across complex environments to support an enterprise while considering the impact of governance, risk, and compliance requirements. So this test consists of roughly about 90 questions. They are multiple choice and performance-based, which leads me to believe that you're probably going to encounter some sort of simulations while taking this exam, similar to how we see in some of the other vendors' exams. I know I pick on Cisco a lot. So usually in some of the Cisco exams, you know, you have multiple choice questions, but sometimes you could get a simulation where you may have to do some configuration. So by this exam being also performance-based, I'm pretty sure you're going to have some kind of simulations or some kind of something that you need to perform on this exam. And then roughly this exam is 165 minutes, and the cost comes in at roughly about $509. So that $509 is not nothing to laugh at. So for $509, that pretty much means that you need to have done your due diligence when you get ready to take this exam. You need to be well prepared. You need to make sure you did your studying. You need to make sure you did your labs. You need to make sure that you're ready to perform when you're going in to take this exam. So then roughly, just like some of the other exams, I know $509, that seems like a lot, but a lot of other ones is roughly around the same price. I think the CCNP may be around about $4 and some change. So most of them is roughly around about that $400 to $500 range, sometimes depending on the level of the certification. That has a lot to do with it. I know like usually the associate level certifications is a little bit cheaper. And I think the Security Plus is a little bit cheaper than this $509 also. But then also, just like most exams, this certification is valid for 3 years. So roughly after 3 years, you probably need to recertify, renew that certification, or get a higher certification or something of that nature. So basically, that's about the sweet spot for most exams. I know the CCNA, any one of their certs expires after 3 years. And then also, I think they have some sort of continuing education that you can take to recertify your exams. I see a lot of vendors starting to implement that. So if you saw my last video, Cisco has started to implement those changes, which I think have done it too, where they've been implemented. But like I said, it's just starting to be more wide open to where you see a lot of other vendors implement that too, because I'll say it, you know, from someone that has been getting certifications for a while now, mainly the CCNA, a lot of times just ended up renewing it or something like that. Sometimes it is a little bit tedious to go back and restudy for it. Now, give and take, you know, a lot of times they've something done updated on that exam. There's new technologies you need to learn, and I'm all for that. But it is neat that a lot of these vendors have started to implement where you can do some additional training to recertify that certification that you already got. So I do think that is a plus for a lot of these certifications. So I'm pretty sure CompTIA has something along those lines too. So like I said, the cost of it is roughly about $509 and is valid for about 3 years.